This week's portion begins with the call from God to Abraham to go, Lech, Lecha, from his land, Me'artzecha, from his birthplace, Umimoladetecha, to the land that God will show him, El Haaretz Asher Ar'eka. And it raises this question of exactly what was this call to go to the land of Israel and other calls to prophecy that we read about throughout the Torah and the Bible. Were they literally calls that these characters in the text actually heard from God, or were they inner senses of a drive or a passion that they realized must have been as if God were calling them? And I ask this question because I often come across this sense of a calling and have a discussion about it with my interfaith colleagues, because many of my colleagues from Protestant denominations feel this sense of calling as if God actually called them to become ministers in their faith. And I must admit that I never have felt as if God literally called me to become a rabbi. However, I have felt as if I've had the passion, and I always have the passion, to be a rabbi. I was raised with a commitment and devotion to Judaism, to Jewish tradition, and to Jewish practice. I've always loved learning about all aspects of Judaism, and I've so much enjoyed sharing that with you, members of Shaare Tefila congregation, and other people with whom I have come into contact. And certainly there are times in which I am involved in my work as a rabbi that I feel as if God has called me to this position of being a spiritual leader. And so that is the dilemma that I feel all the time as I read the text. Are we supposed to read it literally? Read it as if God literally, in this case, spoke to Abraham and Sarah and told them to leave? Or do we understand it as if Abraham and Sarah felt that God was talking to them? Does it make a difference in the end about the sincerity of the call and the serious nature of the call itself? Would it make a difference if really God spoke to them, or if they felt as if God spoke to them? Does it take away from the sanctity of the text determining what the nature of that call is? And so I leave you with that question, and as we grapple with the text, let us think about the passions in our life and whether they are helping us live according to true and righteous living. Shabbat Shalom.